get going?
Last 4 minutes, but we're almost live on YouTube now.
Okay.
I have a question. When you stream live on YouTube, so they see it first before everybody comes in for the Zoom webinar? Is that how it works? Coach Ariel?
Yeah. What's that again?
That's how it works.
We're live on YouTube
if
now.
you're live on YouTube, so they can see us now, even before
Yes.
the participants for the webinar come in.
Yes.
All right.
They can see us on YouTube.
So hello to
But
everybody on YouTube.
Yes, but there's like 5 to 10 second delay on YouTube.
Okay. Well, Coach, I'm going to step out for real quick and
All right.
come right back if that's okay.
I'll give you a 30-second timeout, Coach.
Yeah, give me a 30.
So yeah, welcome to our YouTube watchers from YouTube. Again, let's support the fundraising activity of Blackwater. So it's on it's on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram. So it's how we can support the frontliners, our modern day heroes. And I would like to welcome you for the second session for tonight. We'll be having a very young but experienced coach. So let me open his background. Teddy, are you seeing the...
I can see it. Coach Preston's
Yeah, you're right.
coaching information.
Yes. So be ready with your questions also from YouTube. I'll try to ask
As many
Coach.
as you can, yeah.
Yes, answer as many as I can for the short. And you can also ask questions on our Facebook page and make sure to like Hoop Coaches International so we can continue serving our fellow coaches. Again, I would like to spread the good news that I've spoken to fellow coaches and they've agreed to share their old and even new coaching boards, especially from Coach Nash Frasella. He promised 4 coaching boards, new. And then Coach Alex Compton, Coach Louis Alas also will share their coaching boards. Okay, we're just waiting on Coach. Coach, you ready?
Ready to go.
All right, so we'll start the broadcast. So let the attendees come in. So they're
trickling in.
Trickling in now.
Yeah.
It's like a classroom. Right, good evening, fellow coaches from the region. Just waiting on a couple more coaches that's registered. Just had dinner. And,
it's like a virtual classroom. Like you open the door and they all come in. They're gonna take their seats and they're gonna watch Coach Preston.
All right, since we're live on YouTube, some can catch up. Again, I met Coach Preston when I visited the University of Kentucky in 2012 when they won the championship. He was the director of operations during that time with Coach John Calipari, and we kept in touch. And he's now from an assistant with Morehead State. He moved up since 2016 as the head coach of Morehead State. Again, joining us in the panel is Dr. Teddy Villasor. Teddy, say hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening
hi,
again.
Coach Preston, Coach Rial.
Okay,
Hello, thanks for having me on tonight.
All right, and then without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Coach Preston Spradlin. Coach, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. It's morning here, so I appreciate you guys having me on. But this is quite an honor to be on here with you guys, halfway across the world, but all talking about the same thing, sharing some basketball. So this is fun.
It's our pleasure, Coach. And we have also coaches not only from the Philippines, but also from Southeast Asia, from Malaysia, from Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, and Vietnam. That are here. So good evening also to them. And Coach, I know I've mentioned your background, where you started. Just tell a bit more story about your stay with Coach Calipari. I know our attendees, our coaches would like to hear those.
Yeah, no. So I just finished my my 11th year of being in the business here, and kind of just I've had a unique path. It's been a pretty accelerated path, really. I've been very fortunate to get the opportunity to be a head coach and at the Division I level at a young age. But I got started. I played really small college basketball in a place called Alice Lloyd College that I'm sure nobody's ever heard of. It's a very small school in Eastern Kentucky, and I knew at that point in time when I was playing college that I wanted to become a college coach. And so I used to spend every summer traveling around working basketball camps and just trying to get to know as many people as I could. And I would literally spend the entire summer working camps. And so sometimes I'd get paid for those, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes they'd give you a dorm room to sleep in, and there's even been a time or two I'd slept in my truck just to have an opportunity to work at camp and meet some people. And so throughout all those connections, when I finished my playing career, I was just very fortunate to get on at the University of Kentucky with Coach Cal and his staff as a graduate assistant. And so that was Coach's first year there at the University of Kentucky. So I got an opportunity to be there from year 1 all the way through year 5. And so my first 2 years, I was a graduate assistant working on my master's degree, and was just very fortunate. We had a large staff. Everybody was fairly new, except for all the people that Coach had brought from Memphis. And we had 8 guys who were in non-coaching roles that, we couldn't be on the court, couldn't go on the road and recruit. So you were doing video administration work, grad assistant work, all those types of things. And so I was kind of the one guy that really didn't have an in. I didn't have a connection, no family that had coached or anything like that. And so I just really invested in coming early and staying late and doing any and every task that could be done, from folding towels to cutting up film to, driving, getting the coach's cars washed or whatever it may have been. There was nothing that was too small for me to do. And through that, I kind of just was able to get a number of different roles while I was there. I was very fortunate. One thing that Coach kind of tasked me with early on was kind of being the keeper of the playbook. There needed to be someone that when all of his new ideas were coming to the floor, whether they were planned or on the fly, somebody needed to keep up with those things. And, that's my fascination with the X's and O's really came from that, because that became kind of my niche. And, what I kind of became was kind of the remembering person on staff. I was so infatuated with Coach and his knowledge and our staff and the terminology and all the things that I could learn. And so I started logging all that and becoming very organized with the way I kept up with things and all of that. And so then, fast forward 2 years later, after the first 2 seasons there with Cal, being a graduate assistant, we had gone to an Elite 8. And then the second year we had gone to a Final Four. And that's when Coach announced that he was going to be taking over the Dominican national team. And that was when things really changed for me, because throughout those 2 years, Coach had noticed the work that I had done with film and video and playbooks and all those different things. And so he asked me to be a part of that staff. And that was a big honor for me. As a matter of fact, it was the first time that I'd ever even been out of the country was when he asked me to do that. I'd never left the States. And so with that, I just got an amazing opportunity. Of course, we had a great staff with Del Harris and Billy Bano, as you know, and that's our connection, Coach, that we know is through Coach Bano. And so I just got a 2-month tutorial on international basketball, professional basketball, and it was great. And it gave me the opportunity that I could get on the floor, I could do some coaching, and I really kind of developed my own coaching philosophy and my own voice through that experience because I really loved working with the pro players, and many of them were older than me, which was a great experience. And so what I found out was, I'm not a big rah guy. I'm not a big yeller and screamer. Of course, that wasn't my role on that staff anyway. I was more of the help the guys stay organized and give them tidbits as to what we were trying to do offensively and what Coach was wanting. And through that, it really brought Coach and I really close. And so when we returned from that trip, of course, we got a bronze medal in the Olympic qualifier in the Tournament of the Americas. We beat Puerto Rico, we beat Brazil. Got a chance to coach against Manu Ginobili and all those great players from down there. So just a great experience. But Coach gave me a full-time job, and when we got back to campus, and so I stayed for 3 more years as the assistant director of basketball operations. And as you mentioned, in year 3, 2012, we won the national championship. 2 years later, we made it back to the national championship game in 2014, and then that's when I left to really expand my coaching. And I came down the road. We're only about an hour east of University of Kentucky, here to Morehead State, and I came here as an assistant coach. And it was 2 years here as an assistant coach. And of course, this is kind of home for me. This is very close to my hometown, where I grew up here in Eastern Kentucky. And so got me the opportunity to get on the floor in a college setting and coach on the floor, get on the road and begin recruiting. And so I was able to really expand my duties throughout my career. And so we had 2 successful seasons when I was an assistant here. And then when we got into the 3rd season, our head coach resigned 4 games into the season. And so our administration, they gave me the interim tag. And so I was the interim coach when I took over. And it wasn't the smoothest transition when I first took over. We lost 8 games in a row, but we made a lot of changes. We tweaked a lot of things and made some adjustments, and we had a great group of players. And we ended up turning things around, and we finished 2nd in our league once we got into league play. We had 2 all-conference players. We graduated 6 seniors that year, and then we had 5 guys move on to play professionally overseas off that roster. And so when the season was over, was awarded the head coaching job full-time, and just got the opportunity at 30 years old to be the youngest head coach in the country at the time, and to completely rebuild our program. When I got the job, it was myself, 1 assistant coach who's still with me now, and we had 4 players. 1 of them was a walk-on, and 3 of them were scholarship guys. And so we kind of set out to completely rebuild the program. We had some other issues, financially with the university and with our APR and our roster management and things like that. And so we just finished year 3. And so getting ready for year 4 right now with our program, and really like our team. Feel like I'm, finding my footing in terms of as a head coach and things that I like to do, and finally getting the pieces in place to do the things the way I'd like to do them. And so I'll share some of those things here today as we go through some offensive ideas.
Okay, Coach. So the floor is yours. You're going to talk about transition and secondary offense. Thank you.
Yeah. And so just a little bit of background on that. I've got some film from last season on here, and going into this past season, we anticipated that we were going to be one of the better shooting teams in our league. And sometimes I think when you're you're planning things out as a coach and you're putting together your schemes and your playbook and how you want to play, obviously your personnel is going to play a big part into that. And so the numbers and the data that we had coming in, it was proven that we were going to be a very good shooting team. And so I like to typically play 2 point guards or combo guards on the floor at the same time. And we want to play very fast, and we want to get the ball up and down. And ideally going into the year, we wanted to be a very free-flowing offense, more concepts, more continuities, a little more equal opportunity. And so we spent a lot of time getting ourselves to where we were going to play in the flows, and we were going to have fewer sets, and we were going to just again just kind of play off concepts. And so what we kind of found out as this year went on is that our personnel didn't really reflect that. Part of it was one of our starting guards, who was a very cerebral player, great feel, very skilled guard who could play any of the 3 guard spots, ended up missing the season for us. And so right off the bat, we had a starting guard that we were missing. And so we had to insert someone who just wasn't quite ready for that type of role. He was more of a 3-and-D guy, good defender and knockdown shooter, but his playmaking ability wasn't quite what the starting player would have been for us. And so because of that, it kind of put more of a load on the rest of our guys. And so we had to kind of make some changes as the year went on. And I say that because the video that I'm going to show you guys is kind of, it is transition, it is secondary, it is ball screen motion. It is a lot of counters and entries into those types of things. But then as our season went on, really our better players weren't getting enough quality shots. And so we had to kind of designate, and we had to kind of draw the ball in the basket, as we say, and we had to incorporate more sets. But it was important to me that we still kept our flows on the backside of our sets. And so I'll kind of show you guys some of the concepts and ideas and the way we were able to do that this year. And so I'll show you here. This is some of our transition. And so ideally in transition for us, we want to get it out and we want to go. And our 1s, 2s, and 3s are all going to be interchangeable. We want to have, 3 guards on the floor that can rebound it and bring it up the floor. And then we want our 4s and 5s to be interchangeable in the way that we do our break. And so we're always going to have a rim runner, whether that's the 4 or that's the 5. And so made field goal, the closest one to the basket is going to take it out, 4 or 5. And then the other one, 4 or 5, his responsibility is to rim run. And we want to shrink the court. And so we want to put as much pressure on that rim in the first 5 seconds as we can to shrink the court. And then it'll open everything up from there. And so this is an example here. You just see a very quick inbound. Our point guard is actually closest to it here. And you see he pitches it to this is our 5-man right here, number 0. And then this is our 4-man, number 3. And so they recognize made field goal. He's closest to it. We drill this, we work on this, we do it. This is a big point of emphasis for us that we hit on early in the year. And then we come back to it throughout the year. So this is something that we're able to carry over. And so as you can see, we got it out really fast. This is our 4-man, who's really a big guard at 6'7", handles the ball, shoots it from the perimeter. And you see he's getting out and he's going. So anytime that the ball changes possession, made field goal or missed field goal, as simple as that seems right there, that's what we're trying to get accomplished. We want to get that ball in extremely fast, rim run, and we want to try to throw it ahead to the rim. That we want that to be on the other team's scouting report, that when their shot goes up, you have got to get back and you've got to protect the paint. And then it's going to open up everything else from there. And so that would just be option number 1 in our transition. And again, you see here, we're getting it in quickly. Same player, same setup. He's rim running now. And so now he's got guys converging in the middle third of the floor. So now we can throw this ball ahead. Same thing. We're looking to advance that ball very fast. We want to get it in quickly. We want to sprint the middle third with our first forward. And then we want to run those wings wide so that we can throw the ball ahead to one of those three players as often as possible. All right, so here, see a missed field goal. This time our 4-man is the rebounds this one. Everybody's gone. We got it quickly to our point guard. And so now we're racing it up. And we never want to have two of our guards on the same side. And so our 2-man was the first one out right here. And so our 3, his job now is to push him through. So the moment he hears go through, we're going to race him through to that other side. And we're going to just continue to push the ball. Not a great job here of getting all the way to the corner. Our point guard does a great job here of what we call capturing the middle of the floor and tacking inside these elbows. And so because of the push through with our other guard here, now we've opened up a lane he can drive. And so now this is what we talk about of we just want to get the defense chasing and keep them chasing. So we call this right here just getting it cooking. That's what we talk about. And so driving the ball, kicking it, multiple drives, playing off your shot fake. And so this is us just really pushing the ball, running our lanes in transition and getting it cooking, as simple as that sounds. So we call this here a Curry action. Obviously, Steph Curry is very good at driving, kicking, and then getting out behind his pass and replacing where he threw it to. So kind of a dribble drive option concept here. So we call that a Curry action, and just a great multiple drive right there. And so that's not a set play. That's just obviously how we want to play in transition as often as we can. And so we drill that and we show those to our guys as much as we can. So here, same thing. Boom. This time our 5-man rebounds this one. We get it out to our point guard. He gets out here to his outlet spot. And so now, obviously, we didn't get it to him in the middle of the floor. So it's important for me that we capture the middle of the floor so that we can attack inside these elbows on the other end. We don't like to dribble the ball up the sideline. I like for the ball to be centered so that we can advance it up the sideline with the pass. And to me, I think the hardest thing to guard in transition defense is when the ball changes sides of the floor. Because if you're sprinting the ball up the floor and you're putting 3 guys on that baseline, a rim runner and 2 wings running to those corners, when the ball changes sides of the floor, everyone's responsibility defensively on the court changes. And so we really work on changing sides of the floor with our point guards. Again, you see he's changing sides. Our 3 is going to push our 2-man through. Our first forward is rim running here. And so we're just changing sides. And now our 5-man, he's a bit of a bully post. And so he just goes in and buries a guy. And so now we're just going to keep looking, shrinking the court. There's that Curry action again. And anytime we throw it back and don't have a shot or a drive, we should be looking to throw that ball right inside. And that would be out of our ball screen stuff. That would be out of just straight transition or just anything really. And so that's just a great possession of us really pushing the ball, getting multiple drives, changing sides of the floor, and then ending that one with a post up. So now we'll get into a little bit more of our secondary. And so this is our normal transition, our flow set, as we call it here. So we're going to have our guards in the corners, 2 and 3. This is our 5-man underneath. And then this is our 4-man right here. And so our point guard, same principles are going to apply, okay? He's going to change sides of the floor, and he's going to use this, what we call a nail cut, kind of the butt screen that has become very popular in college basketball right now. And it's kind of a moving screen, but for us, it's a big initiator for our offense. And so option number 1, as we come off those, you can see he's not turning and setting a screen. He's coming off and attacking and changing sides. In this particular game, you can see the pickup point for our opponent is really high. And so the higher that pickup point is, the higher we can set this, what we call the nail cut. And so we want to send our forward right down the pipe. And so our 1 and then our 4 and 5 are in a straight line with each other. And so that he can come off and he can attack either way he wants. And so very easily as he comes off and attacks downhill, now our bottom post player here, our forward, which is our 5, his job is to duck in like crazy. And so one of two things, he can either receive a post up right here by ducking in, or he's going to occupy the help defender right here so that as our point guard gets downhill, now he's got the ability to get in there and get a shot without a shot blocker. Or you can see here, they'd step up as he changes sides again, and then we get an easy one right there. And so we'll watch that again just in kind of more fast motion. But this is how we ideally want to flow into almost all of our possessions, just like that, as simple as it may be. We're just staying on the attack, and we tell our point guard, attack inside these elbows. And so you'll see the same thing here, made field goal. Now we're pushing it up. Our 5 kind of rim runs. We throw this one ahead. We look inside. Now we're just swinging it, multiple drives, and getting an easy one right there. So drive and kick and getting some multiple drives there. All right, so now we'll get into some of our drag screens. First one we'll do is a drag 4. And so if our 4-man is setting this drag screen, then he's going to pop. And it's going to be a pop for a shot or a drive or a duck in. And so those same principles that we just saw 2 clips ago are going to apply. But now we're going to set an actual screen as opposed to allowing the point guard to come off of more of a cutter. And so here it is. Boom. This is our 4-man drag screen. There's the pop. And then as you see, the ball's coming back here. We really emphasize this forward ducking in right here. And so it's really important as we bring this ball up the court, you can see that our first forward down is on the same side as the ball. Our opposite forward, or our trailing forward rather, is going to always be opposite. And we keep these X's on the floor about right here when we're practicing, and we call those our trail spots. And so we're adamant about our trailing forward getting to that trail spot. We don't want them to be right at the top of the key, right on top of our ball handler, and we don't want them to be wide because we want this to be a quick screen, and we don't want this defender to be able to get in on any of this help action. So as we bring this up, these two are on the same side. Here's our pick and pop. So as this ball is being thrown back, now he's ducking in here. Now, obviously, we get a great shot right here from our pick and pop 4-man, and we do have the duck in, but the duck in is still always important for me because a great duck in is not only going to get you a look inside, it's going to open up the opportunity for offensive rebounding. And we'll talk about that as we go through how important great execution is, great screening, being physical leads to your ability to be a great offensive rebounding team. And so you can see there just an easy pick and pop, got a nice look. So a drag 4 again, comes off of it. This time our 5-man, he's out of position a little bit, but he's ducking in. Our point guard this time comes off, recognizes it, that he got a nice seal, throws that one in there, and got a nice deep post up for an easy finish. So we call this, we have the signal, we call it flipping. And so because we do allow our closest forward to the ball to take it out of bounds on made field goals 4 or 5, we want to be able to dictate whether we're in a drag 4 with our 4-man or a drag 5. And so sometimes we can flip into that. And so what you see right here is just our 5 kind of brush screening for our 4 so that we can stay into a drag 4. And now that allows our point guard to come off there and to get an easy one just because we jumbled it up by screening into the screener. So drag 5, obviously, we always want our 5s to roll because for us, those guys are non-shooters. So we want to roll them. And then anytime that it's a drag 5 for us, it's going to be a roll replace. So you see here, our 4-man, he's rim running. He's on the ball side as the ball comes up, and our guards are getting nice and low in the corners here. So now our 5-man is coming into this 5-man drag screen, and it's always going to be a roll and then a replace. And so there it is coming off. There's the roll, there's the replace, And again, you see the replace for a nice shot. You see the great duck in right here, which we'll show a high-low of in just a moment. But that would be how we would do our drag fives. Again, now we're pushing it here. 5-man's the trailer, right into a drag 5 here, coming off, roll, replace. This time gets a nice rip and gets in there to a good finish. And again, you can see, because that throwback, we really emphasize the throwback post up. Now our 5-man has his defender sealed. And so now it's opened up this driving lane here so that the shot blocker is not able to rotate over and help on this one here. We don't have the greatest spacing. 55 right here should have stayed down in the corner to provide more of a bigger gap here. But our 4-man does a great job. Like I said, he's a big guard at 6'7" with good ball handling skills. And so good drive and finish right there. But that duck in from our 5-man is very important to occupy the shot blocker. So we'll just see another one here. All right, so now we're off to the races. Our 5-man rebounds it. Our 4 is rim running. You can see shrinking the court. So now we're into, and what we do is we allow our guards that they can pretty much turn down any screen. We want to give them the freedom to reject or turn down any screen. And so this time we catch the defender's head sneaking here. And our point guard this season here, number 12, as we go through the film, he wasn't a shooter. He was a non-shooting point guard, which sometimes can make it very difficult on your offense. But a lot of times teams would want to go under those ball screens with him. Well, the issue with going under ball screens is now you can't impact the ball, and it makes it very difficult to force the offense to go a certain way off of the ball screen. And so you can see he's trying to cheat to get under the ball screen. Our point guard does a great job because he doesn't have any pressure on him. A great drive there, and then a dump off to the first forward down.
Is that how you counter again the defense if they go under?
Yeah. So one thing I think the hardest screens to go under are those ones right in the middle of the floor. So that middle facing screen. And so a couple of adjustments that we did this year was, instead of doing more slot or side ball screens with our point guard, is we put him right in the center of the court. And so with our set, our transition flow set that you saw with the point guard and both forwards being in line with each other, whether it's 1-4-5 or 1-5-4, now it makes it very difficult for a defender to cheat under that screen, because if he goes under a flat ball screen or a middle facing ball screen, you're going to meet him at the rim, as we saw in a couple of those clips a moment ago where he was able to get all the way to the rim there. And so for us, that was one adjustment that we really made was, okay, if you're going to not really respect our point guard and fight over screens to where he can make plays, then we're going to center it, and we're going to really allow him to change directions, turn down ball screens, and go different ways with it. Another thing that we would do is we would twist, we would rescreen that action, and we would work on with our forwards pivoting towards the basket so that second screen going in an opposite direction would be really deep. And so that's something that we would work on with our guys this year as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so here it is, a drag 5 again. So again, our 5 is rolling. This one you can see here. This is just great recognition from a couple of our freshmen. This big kid here was a freshman for us, and then this 4-man underneath, who's a shooting 4, was a freshman for us. And so we're playing Jacksonville State here. You can see that they pre-switch the roll replace. So their 4-man is going to stay down, and then they're going to bring their 5 out here on the roll replace. And so our kids do a great job recognizing that this is really not a threat post defender in here. And so great hard roll, great seal, and then we throw it right in, catch them off guard, and get a nice little high-low right there from that. So our drag 5, if we don't get downhill with our point guard option 1, we don't throw it back to our 4-man for a shot or drive option 2 is we're automatically looking to throw that thing in for a nice high low. So drag 5 again, and you can see just how this is a little later in the year, and our point guard, again, non-shooter, so you can see that his pickup point was very low, which can make it difficult to run your offense sometimes, but you just have to really show your players this, and you have to really drill where these screens are going to occur. And so you can see the pickup point on our point guard is very low, but our 5-man does a great job here of setting this screen extremely low. And you can see, again, we talked about going under that screen. The ones in the middle third of the floor right here are very difficult to go under. And so you see the roll replace again. There's another high-low, easy basket for our post player there. And so, again, we talked about flipping into these these drag screens. So this time our 4 is trailing, but we want to get our 5-man involved in this. And so we flip into what we call a drag 5. So there's the brush screen. You see we've jumbled them up. Now we're coming off. We've got great separation. And this is our point guard moving forward here. He was a freshman for us this season. He's a bigger point guard at 6'4". And he does really shoot it. And so teams had to guard him differently when he was in the game last season. And so we're optimistic about just how he's going to change the dynamic of the game for us next season and the spacing on the floor, because you do have to fight over screens with him. And then obviously being at 6'4", these are good shots for him to do. But that was all created because of our flip that we did into it. 4 to 5. Boom, jumbled them up. So now there's all kinds of space here, coming off nice and tight. And now he's got that look right there. So we talked about flows. I'm sure you guys have probably had a number of different people doing ball screen motion on here. It's become extremely popular. Obviously, a lot of people call it European ball screen, and a lot of college teams are running it now. We've ran a good bit of it. We used it as what we call a flow or a default a lot this year, that whenever a play would break down or I didn't make a play call from the sideline, our players should know we're in our ball screen motion. That is our default, that what we would always default to. And we wanted to run it side to side and get a lot of different looks with that. And so this would be a follow high set to where you're bringing both forwards up to these lane line extended. And so we would call that a follow high, to where we're bringing those guys up. So again, our point guard here is attacking, fighting for his space on the floor, getting into these elbows. He doesn't get all the way in there, but he gets in a little bit. You can see, all right, now our forward is down here on this ball side. Now we're swinging it back, and now we're right into it. And so for us, if we're running this with great tempo, then we can look to really score on this first side. And again, we'll give our guards the opportunity or the option to turn down or reject any of these screens. And so now we've lifted everybody. As you see, these are all happening at the same time. We're swinging, interchanging to occupy on the other side. As this follow ball screen is happening, we're lifting up this opposite forward here. And then now we're able to turn that one down and get all the way to the rim. So we're really big on turn down ball screens. We pick up a lot of fouls. We get a lot of shots at the rim. We get a lot of dives to the front of the rim, and we get a lot of hammer shots off of those. And so here it is again, not the fastest transition, but again, we're flowing into it. And this team here, you know, we were really good against Tennessee State of what we call quicking ball screens. And so that's our term for a slip ball screen. And so we would really like to quick those ball screens or slip them with our 4-man because he was very explosive, and you can see some of the plays he's able to make here. So this one, we quicked it, got a nice quick over the top pass, good interchanges over here with our other guards and our forward lifting up, and then we're able to get that easy dump down right there. So we're scored both of these last two clips on the first side. One was a turn down and one was a quick slip where we're hitting the 4-man there. And that's something right there that we really work on with our forwards. We call this a crab dribble. And so he's catching this one, his chest, his shoulders are open to the defender, but we're going to pivot, crab, and he's going to close his shoulders to the defender so that he can absorb that contact. And then he gets a nice finish there with the and one. So again, transition, we're pushing it up. Now we're right into our ball screen motion. Playing against this team here, they're a hard show team, as you can see. And so they're going to really hard show with their forward, get him extended up on the floor. And so what we work on with our guards here, Coach, is we want to get this ball out quickly so that we can attack this backside or get them chasing. And so our guard gets it out decently quick here to our forward. And you can see our big guy underneath, who you've seen get a lot of easy high-low baskets, really working for that one. And then we're able to throw that one over top. This is an important clip for us because our 4-man right here, number 3, came into the season as a really good shooting forward. He shot 40% from the 3 as a sophomore for us. As the season went on this year, and I think the new 3-point line in college basketball really affected him. He shot closer to 20% from 3. And so it really changed our offense. And instead of teams really coming out to guard him and respect him out here, they started sagging off and helping more here on the roll man, as you can see. Well, the great thing about the ball screen motion is it's got multiple options. You just got to make sure that you're really showing your players which ones are going to be open. And so obviously if you're gonna gap a non-shooting or someone who hasn't proven that they can shoot, now there's no pressure on the ball to be able to make these easy over-the-top lob passes. And so we work on with our guards and our forwards, especially these forwards in a high-low setting in the middle third of the floor, throw this ball to where only he can get it. Throw it to the corner of the backboard. And so you can see, because he doesn't have any pressure on him, he's able to make this pass from pretty low. He doesn't have to jump to pass it. He's very comfortable, and he's able to lob it right over top and get an easy one there. So that would be one of our high-low looks out of our ball screen motion there against a hard show team. So here we're tacking off the nail cut. This team's trying to pressure a little bit more. They're switching over there. And so now the next option, obviously, because they are being more aggressive, trying to deny, is we're going to be able to get those back doors. And so obviously you got to have good passing forwards to be able to do this, but a good hard cut and a great backdoor pass right there to our cutting guard and got a nice finish right there.
Big to take that sometime?
Say that again?
Will you ever allow a non-shooting big to take that open shot? Because they're sagging off him.
No, you
No?
know,
20% you won't allow.
No, you know, because he hadn't really proven that he can make those shots. We wouldn't allow them to do that, and that was kind of the problem with us this year. Is we really went into the year again. Our data and our information and our previous stats told us we were going to be a very good shooting team. And there are a couple reasons that we weren't. I think having a non-shooting point guard this year really affected the spacing for our other players and made the game more difficult for them. And then, like I said, the 3-point line this year in college basketball, Division I, moved back to the FIBA line. And so that was a big adjustment for our players. And the two guys that it affected the most for us were number 2, who you see here, and number 3. And both of those guys are really high elevating jump shooters. They really elevate when they shoot the ball. And so, as you know, players who do that oftentimes tend to shoot the ball on the way down. When you move that 3-point line back as far as it went this year, they were really affected by that.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Yeah. So here again, we're really just flowing into it. And so what we tell our guys, and this is an important key for us in college basketball, is you're not always going to have 3 guards on the floor at our level who are very gifted in ball screen reads. And so for us in our ball screen motion, we have what we call movers and makers. And so the movers are going to be like our 3-man is in this lineup here, number 32. He's not a very good ball screen playmaker. And so we want him to be a mover in this offense. And so his benefit is getting the ball quickly and moving it to the other side of the floor so that we can change sides of the court and we can get multiple ball screens and we can get the ball out of his hands and into the hands of a maker or a playmaking guard into another ball screen. So in this lineup here, we always want to have 2 makers on the floor and 1 mover. And we always talk about our guys really executing their roles. Movers can't try to make too many plays in ball screens, and makers can't waste one of their opportunities in ball screens and just moving it quickly. And so everybody's got to execute their roles. If you're a mover, your job is to move it quickly. If you're a maker, then you can play with a little bit more pace and try to make a play off of the ball screen. And so you can see one of our movers, he just comes off. He doesn't look to make a play with the ball screen. He just gets a reversal. Now one of our makers there gets it there quickly. And now we've gotten the ball back into one of our point guards or our makers' hands on the 3rd ball screen. And so now you can see he's able to come off, play with a little bit more pace, get into the paint, and then it's a drive and kick to someone who wasn't really a good playmaker in ball screens, but now his strength is catch and shoot. And so the benefit is, really identifying the roles for these guys as to who's a mover, who's a maker, and letting them play to their strengths. And so, boom, you see he moves it quickly. We get it to our 2nd side. We're getting them jumbled up. 3rd side, now the ball is back in the hands of a playmaker, and he gets the ball to an inside-out 3, which is a high percentage shot.
So I think that's Stephen's question from all the way from Hong Kong about the identifying the roles, because he asks if it's gonna hurt the confidence of the big if you don't allow him to shoot. So I think you mentioned how you have to identify the roles and communicate it.
Yeah, one benefit to the forwards that don't shoot in this offense is now there's going to be great separation for your guards to be able to come off if you do have guards that can come off and make shots. And so now the forwards aren't going to get up as high to be able to impact the ball when a guard does come off. And so it opens up the opportunity for more mid-range shots in the middle of the paint. It opens up the opportunity for more floaters. And so we would really emphasize with our forwards just moving that ball quickly, setting great screens, and then rolling in a straight line to the rim. And oftentimes we'd want our guards just to get a good shot up on the rim, and a good screen, a good hard roll to the rim allows the forward to get great offensive rebounding position. And so really getting your forwards to buy into the fact that if they move that ball quickly, they sprint, they set a great screen and roll to the rim, we're going to get a good first shot, but they're going to be the beneficiary of a great second shot. And so to me, I just think, again, great execution, great screening, sprinting of cuts leads not only to a good first shot, but it gets you in position to get a great offensive rebound and a great second shot. And so getting those guys bought into the value of that and how that really just helps with your overall identity is really important.
Excellent point, Coach.
So again, here you see now we're attacking. This is our 5-man was the trailer here. Our 4 was down. Again, we're attacking off that what we call nail cut into these elbows and shrinking the court. So now we're able to make this reversal, and they get the denial a little bit, which is fine. But we still find what we call finding our flow. We find our flow. And so you see the turn down there, boom, looking high-low. You can see this quick look right here, even though he doesn't make this pass. And now we're getting it to a third side. or a fourth side rather. And so this is against the ice team. Okay. And so I'll take this back. Any team that's icing, we want to really try to look to exploit them and get high lows in the ball screen motion. And so here's the first look. Even though we don't throw this one, you can see it's really hard for the forwards to go from icing to when the ball is thrown back out top to getting to the inside to where you can take away this high low.
For the younger coaches or beginner coaches, icing is sending the man on the of the ball going to the baseline or forcing them to the baseline where the help will be coming off the baseline. The big will be in the baseline. All right.
Correct. And so you see we've got a look here for the high-low with our 4-man underneath. Again, no pressure on the ball for our 5. He doesn't give him a very good look, but that's okay. We're going to get it to another side. And there you can see the ice that coach is talking about. The guard is jumping this here, keeping the ball to the sideline, and it's putting a lot of pressure on this forward to have to stop the ball. And so we're going to roll our 5-man, and we're going to do what we call a roll and a wrap with our 4. And so you can see he's rolling hard. This is his defender, okay, stopping the ball. So as the ball gets thrown back out top, on any throwback, we want to really try to go pin and seal this guy and carve out space. And you can see how much space he's able to carve out right there. And then again, great high-low pass right here, throws it to where only the offense can get it to the corner of the backboard. And then we get an easy high-low right there. And then he picks up the foul. And so that would be something we would really emphasize and look to get against an ice team. Ice, roll hard, throw back, high-low pass.
Okay.
So obviously we talked about using this as kind of a default when plays would break down. It would be something we want to flow into out of transition, but we'd also want to have it on the backside of our plays that we could flow into it out of sets. And so right here, this is the drag 4 that we saw a little bit ago. And pick and pop, we throw it back, we give a little look into the post, but now we're swinging it and we're right into this same ball screen motion. And so it's the same thing, a drag with the 4-man like we saw in the beginning of the tape, except now we're going to swing it into our ball screen motion. And again, now we're playing against this team. They're switching with their 4-man. And so anytime that we're going against a switching defense with the 4, we want to quick these ball screens or slip these ball screens. We use the term quick. And something that's really important with our rules when doing this is we practice and we drill and we emphasize our forwards calling the quick. Because as he's making this pass to the wing, he needs to be saying the word quick so that the guard understands he's not going to set this screen. He's going to slip it to the rim right there. And so we want them to be communicating that with each other. And right there is what you see is a great quick confusion here because of the switch. And then we're able to make that pass right over top.
Who will call the quick again, Coach? Who will call the quick?
Our forwards call the quick.
Okay.
So the one setting the screen. And so that's a big point of emphasis with me, coaches, and we really drill that even when we do guards and forwards breakdown and we have the forwards passing the ball to the coaches. We make them say the word quick. And because what we don't want is him to quick this screen or slip it. And now all of a sudden our guard is driving into these 2 defenders. Mm-hmm. Obviously by communicating that he's going to slip this, we know that he's slipping it and not setting it. They are confused because they want to switch this and it just creates a lot of confusion on the timing of the switch. And so now we're able to make that pass over top. And as you can see, we're lifting our other forward here to the top to draw defenders away from the rim. And then we've got the interchange over here. So again, just the ball screen motion principles, but just adding a little wrinkle and a little terminology to that. So one thing that we ran into, again, the ball screen motion offense is very popular There's probably more teams in Division I basketball that run it than teams that don't. And so when you get into that, obviously so many people running it, then everyone knows how to guard it. And then there's a lot of different schemes and ways that people guard it. And so everybody's got a different way of doing it. So one thing that teams would do is they would want to switch that backdoor cut. So when the guards would cut and fill up out of the corner, they would pre-switch that to try to blow up your play and keep you from getting to multiple sides or push your ball screens really far out on the floor. So one thing that we put in to counter that is what we call our top series. And it's essentially the same ball screen motion, but as you can see right here in diagram frame number 3, is instead of the offense number 3 cutting on a back door, he's going to cut over top of the screener. And so now what we're doing is lifting everybody above this foul line and making it really hard for them to pre-switch on those back cuts, because we're taking the back cuts out of it now. And so I'll show you a few clips of how we would run our top action. And we wouldn't run it as much. We would run it pretty much if we knew that's how you were switching, just so that we could mess you up defensively, get you out of a rhythm, get some confusion, and then we get back to running our normal ball screen motion. And so you'll see here, boom, attacking off the elbow. There's our duck in, throw it back. So same thing at this point into our ball screen motion. Except now you're going to see, instead of this guard going on a back door like you saw earlier when he got a back door cut for a dunk, now we're going to cut him over top. And so now he's because he can shoot it, now they've got to chase over top. And ideally this team here, they wanted to pre-switch this. They wanted to keep him at the basket so that when he cut, he could take them, and then this guy would take our point guard filling up. So we're taking that out of their defensive scheme, and now we're cutting him over top and really creating great confusion. And you can see the result here is we get a nice open shot. So again, this is us kind of flowing into our top series. Same thing, looks just like the ball screen motion, cutting over top. And you can see here, you can see the defender is getting into this denial position because they're trying to pre-switch this. He's setting here on the basket, anticipating the backdoor cut. He's denying, anticipating the cut over top. And so now we're cutting this guy over top. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders lifted above the foul line now, with this offensive player lifting up as well. So now it opens up an easy turn down for us, which you saw out of our ball screen motion. But by cutting this guy over top, now we've created a really long closeout to his original defender. And as we talked about, if you can't get into the ball, it's very hard, it's very difficult to push a player into a screen, and it makes it easy to reject or turn down those screens that you see right there. So last one here of our top series. Again, we're coming off, attacking off this nail cut. We've got the duck in, moving the ball. Boom, we're going to cut over top, getting it to a fourth side. And now this is kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the film. This is what we talk about, just getting it cooking. And so this is getting the defense chasing and keeping them chasing. And so our point guard, this is a quick right here. And so another option off of our quick screens is if we don't make this pass, because this is a great read by our point guard. He recognizes that as our forward quicks or slips this to the rim, he's not staying on the ball. He's going with the screener. And so now it's opened up this gap for him to drive. And as that ball's being driven, everybody's seeing the ball, and a great backdoor cut right there for an easy one. So one thing that we ran into, Coach, with some of our forwards not shooting it from the perimeter, was, the X4 and X5 didn't really want to leave the paint to guard them when they would fill up to the slots. And so we implemented what we called follow low, which is pretty much just ball screen motion, but we're going to keep the opposite forward down there in that dunker spot. And so as you can see, frame one right here, we're swinging it through our normal follow ball screen here, but we're not lifting this forward. We're keeping him down low in the dunker spot. And so as we come off of this ball screen, our rule is when the ball passes the elbow, either with the dribble or with the pass, that's when we want this forward who's not involved in the ball screen, who stayed low in that dunker spot, we want him to duck in and occupy any tag or any help on this ball screen. And so now it opens up the opportunity to get a dump off pass to the roll man, get a duck in pass to the forward, or get a shot up and both guys are in position to rebound because they are being physical on their duck ins and on their rolls. And so we'll watch a little bit of our follow low action here. So again, transition, pushing it up. All right, you see our forward here is ducking in out of transition. We don't give it to him, but we swing it. And so now we're into follow low. You see the interchange over here to occupy. Our forward is not filling up. He's going to stay down nice and low. There's a good wide screen. And you can see we're coming off. This guy is helping on the roll. This is X4 helping on the roll. And so now we're going to duck him in. And it's okay, we didn't get anything on that one. So now we want this to be an empty side. So we send our point guard through. We end up coming right into a step up on this one. And we're rolling him right to the rim. And you're going to see an exceptional pass right there from our guard to our four-man. All right, this time we flip into it. Now we're swinging it. Okay, this is a 2-4 ball screen here. And we're playing small ball right now. So this is really a guard playing at the 4 spot. And this is our 5 underneath right here. Again, you see the interchange trying to draw everybody away from the paint, from the midline. There's that quick ball screen. Now he's driving the ball. And as you can see, as he starts to get into this elbow, that's when that duck in occurs. So we kick it out. You can see he's got a nice post up right here. He doesn't throw it in because he's sagging off. And so now we want to go right into a handoff, into another ball screen. And we're going to keep this one on a loaded side and then roll hard, throw it back, shot. And so we would use the follow low as a default as well. And I show this clip because obviously missed free throw, we get a rebound. We throw it, and one of the new rules in college basketball in Division I this year, Coach, was any offensive rebound, the shot clock reset to 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds. And so what it did is it made it very important that if you're a team who really emphasizes offensive rebounding, which as you can tell, that's very important for us in our identity, that when you do get those extra possessions, the ones that are long rebounds that you can't just stick back, you have to be able to flow into something. And so without having to bring the ball out and just call another set play with, 18, 17 seconds on the shot clock. And so for us, we would use our ball screen motions on long offensive rebounds like you saw here. And this time we're using it into our follow low. And another benefit of the follow low and being physical with these duck ins is it clears out the rim and occupies shot blockers. And so you'll see here, again, there's a quick ball screen like we talked about. He's slipping that screen, drew 2 defenders. He puts this ball over his head right here to get him to raise up. It's a great individual play right there. Now he's driving that angle. And you can see our big guy right here. Once this ball gets into the elbow, his job is to duck in like crazy and take out the legs of this defender. And he's looking to get a duck in and a pass for himself. But if we don't make that pass, the benefit still is there that he's occupying the shot blocker. And as you can see, now we get an easy finish at the rim by what's really not the most athletic guard on our team. So physical duck in, clears out space. And then had we missed that, one of the big rules that we have with our guards is you can't miss it short and you can't get it blocked, because we can't rebound a blocked shot. And if you miss it short, we can't rebound that one. So had we missed this one, we would have had an opportunity to offensive rebound. So another stuff with our ball screen motion, we'll kind of talk about how we would use it as a default on the backside of our sets. So just a simple horns right here. Everybody runs horns, so don't need to spend too much time going over it. But this time we come off of our 5. Our 5 is going to roll really hard. And now we're going to throw it back to our 4, and then we're into the ball screen motion, just like that. And again, as you can see, we're really big on these quick screens, because a lot of these teams that we're playing in our league, they play small. So they have 4 guards on the floor that they can switch 1 through 4. And so in this horn setting, we want to come off the 5. You can see our point guard non-shooter, they go under that one, but that's okay, because we're just going to move it quickly to the other side. And here comes the quick. And again, like we mentioned, Coach, our forward calls the quick, and he must communicate that right now so that our guard understands he can't turn down or reject this screen. One of our rules is you can't quick a screen and reject it at the same time. So you have to communicate to eliminate that confusion. And so boom, just another quick screen right there. Good interchanges on the weak side to get that easy play. So some more of our sets I'll share with you guys. I know we were talking transition and secondary offense, but I wanted to show you some of our sets and how we use our secondary offense, our ball screen motion, as a flow on the backside of those. So this is what we call our chess series here. It's going to be out of a horn set, just like what you saw in the previous clip. But we're going to do an Iverson action over top. And this particular set we call chess 2. So we're running it for our 2-man. And the reason we're going to talk about this is Coach Teddy and Coach, you and I, we talked before we went on the air right here of making sure that you're getting your best players the correct shots. And sometimes when you're running a lot of ball screen motion, you're running a lot of flows, a lot of transition, a lot of secondary offense, like we just talked about, your shot selection and your shot allocation aren't always what you need. And so for us, you know, we were struggling at one point in the year with some of our flows that we showed you guys. And what we were struggling with was our best player getting enough shots. And so we had to incorporate some sets, and he's at the 2 for us. And so that's why we're going to go over chess 2. We had to get him some shots, and we had to make sure that our offensive package really complemented him and the rest of our team and put them in positions to play to their strengths. But we also wanted to make sure we could still incorporate our flows and our ball screen motion in all of those things. So I'll kind of walk you through some of that. So chess 2 for us is going to be an Iverson look with an elbow entry. We're going to look for a lob, and then it's going to be a diagonal screen the screener. And so we'll kind of talk through all the options with that. So here you can see our horn set. This is our 2 cutting off. This is our 5, 4, and then our 3 is cutting underneath. So Iverson over under. Bang, we're going to pop him out. And then our very first look coming off of this back screen is right there for the lob. So this would be option number 1 off of our chess 2 play. Again, same thing, comes off, gets a very easy one right underneath. And these are all going to set up the succession of our plays here. So now we're still into chess 2, but we're going to work through the other options of it. So bang, we come off. This time he doesn't throw the lob to him, but it's getting X4 to come off and be a great backstop here. So now it's going to set up the rest of our play. So now we're going to screen 1 to 4. We're going to swing the ball, pop out. Now we're going to get a good 2-5 diagonal screen here. And so we ran these on this side of the floor because our 5-man was really good at getting to his right hook. And so we wanted to get him posted up on this side of the floor as many times as we could. So we got our best player, our best shooter setting a diagonal screen to get him to his sweet spot. And there we get him right to it, right hook. And then, like we talked about, offensive rebounding for me is really important. And I've said it out of all of our stuff, but great execution leads to great first shots and great second shots. And so we got a great first shot, and because we had great screening, now we've got our 4-man a wide open run to the rim, and he's able to get an easy putback right there. So to me, I consider that great execution, even though we missed the original shot that we were trying to get. It gave us an opportunity to get an easy second shot.
Could you play that all the videos from the start, just from the set, just for them to?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So, from the Iverson, so on the back door.
Yeah.
That's the first look. Okay. All right.
First look. And then this is going to be our second look here. Boom. So the lob is not there that time. Now we're going to swing it. There's our diagonal for a post up.
All right.
And
great
then,
action.
Yeah, we'll keep progressing this here too. So there it is again. Now this team here, we're playing Eastern Kentucky. And so you can see they're really getting up and pressuring our 5-man. And so they want to push this catch out. And so for us, you know, they're taking away our lob here with good ball pressure on our big. And so we're going to show you how that kind of plays into our hands on the backside of the play. So now we swing it. So now it makes it easier for us to screen him because he's up here pressuring our 5-man who's a non-shooter. So their strength defensively is trying to blow up your play with ball pressure, even on a non-shooter. And so we're going to use that, and we're going to make that a weakness for them. And so they jump over this screen, but you can see X2 has to stay and help now. And so because X2 has to stay and help, now look at the separation. This is our 2-man. This is X2. And now we're getting a wide open shot. He's not within 10 feet of him. So good tempo, good screening leads to all those things. And so this is another great one right here. And you'll just see great screening and slipping against an aggressive show team right here, how we get another look. So there's our Iverson. No lob there. Now we're swinging it. There's a good diagonal screen, and you can see now X2. He's opening up, and he's helping to take away the diagonal screen here. And now we've got a lot of separation between our 2-man and X2. And so here's the screener from the 4. And you're going to see over help right here by their 4-man, and just an exceptional pass and slip from our 2-man to our 4. And I'll show you that one again. That's just, again, great execution and really teaching your players all the different options and read off of your plays. So boom, they take away our lob, our diagonal. They really show hard to take away our shot, but our slip is there. So a counter on this, coach, would be what we call chest 2 flop. And so it's going to look the same thing, except we're going to fake swinging the ball back to our point guard, and then we're going to throw it. And instead of being a diagonal for the 2 and 5, 5 is going to turn and pin down for 2, and we're going to throw it right back to that other side. And so just a good counter if a team is jumping over that diagonal screen, that we can go flop and get a good look. So boom, watch our 4-man here. He's really important in this play, that he's got a good act with him, and he fakes the swing to get the defense to shift. Our 2 underneath is very important. He needs to put his hand up and look like he's going to screen for the 5. And so you can see both of those things happen. He puts his hand up. He's being a great actor right here to get his defender to start communicating a screen. and you can see the fake swing from our 4-man right into that throwback pin down for a shot. And we'll watch that one more time. There's our Iverson. There's the lob. Fake the swing. Now we're into a pin down. Knock it in. Okay, so now we'll do our chess series into our ball screen motion, because to me it's important that when you're building your playbook, you really stack plays together, and you design plays and you disguise plays together. And so if we're going to have a horn set that has an Iverson action like the ones you just saw, it can't always result in us throwing it to our 5-man and getting a diagonal screen to screener or the flop like you saw. So to keep the defense honest, we're going to build our playbook around stuff like that. So here's our Iverson, and this time we're just going to come off and throw it to him. And so now we're going to move into our ball screen motion. But obviously option number one, great screening, is we're going to get a shot here. And so for a lot of teams on our chess series, they would try to cheat underneath these Iverson screens, thinking that we were running our normal chess series that you just saw in the clips previous. So now we're going to throw it right to him. You can see he cheats underneath, and now we're throwing it and getting a great shot for a shooter coming off. And then we'll progress that. So now we're going to go chest into our ball screen motion. So there's our Iverson look. We hit it to him. And now we're going to screen big to big like we did the flip screens like you saw earlier in the film on the drags. And now we're going to be into our ball screen motion. And so this is a 2-5 ball screen. And again, we talked about, we give our guards the freedom to turn these screens down anytime. And you see he gets a great turn down screen right there. Again, here it is. This is chest into follow, and boom, this time we come off. They're hard showing. We're lifting everybody and interchanging over here. And so you see a great pass there. And so for me, Coach, I'm excited. This is a freshman last year to a freshman. These are two good young players for me that we got coming back, making that pass and making that finish. So two good looking kids we got coming back we're excited about. All right, here it is again. Boom. Now we're right into our ball screen motion. And this time we're into our follow low, where we're going to keep this forward low. And we're going to come off right into it. Boom. And now you can see our forward, as the ball is crossing the elbow, he's ducking in. And so now he's carved out a nice duck in for himself, easy post up. And again, I want you to take a look at number 3's roll right here. As he rolls hard to the rim in a straight line, he gets himself in great offensive rebounding position. It's almost impossible for the defense as a forward right here to stop the ball in a ball screen and get in position to rebound. So you can see he draws 2 defenders. He ducks in, occupying the tag, and gets a post up. This roll right here gets him in position to offensive rebound. So right now we're getting a great shot 2 feet in the paint, but we've also got great offensive rebounding position if we were to miss that. So I talked about stacking sets together, and so that's kind of what you saw there with the chest action, or Iverson action as we all know it, into the ball screen motion. But now we'll do it into some other things. And so we would just call this chest into horns. And so if we do have a team that is sagging, or that is playing a little bit tighter to our big right here to make this entry pass to him difficult, then we're going to Iverson him off, and we're going to go right into a horns. So now we've stacked a couple plays that are simple together, and we've expanded our playbook, and we've disguised a couple things. So now we just Iverson into a simple horns, and you see a great play right there. And now we'll do the same thing. This time we run it kind of off the side out. There's our Iverson. There's our horns. Boom, throw it back. And then you're going to see a great seal right here. Roll hard. He's sealing on that throwback. And look at the space that he's carved out here. And look at the great high-low pass to the corner of the backboard to where only our offensive player can get it. Right there. Great pass, great finish. And so we would do chest into just what we call a stacked ball screen. So again, back with our non-shooting point guard right here, talked about teams that go under him. Well, a horn screen or an elbow ball screen can be easy to go under against a non-shooting point guard. However, a stacked ball screen where you stack them both in the middle of the floor together, two flat ball screens, is very difficult to go under. And so I'll show you that. So we would go chest into a stack. So now you see it's a flat ball screen here, and they're stacking on top of each other. So now this is very difficult for the defender to try to go under our non-shooting point guard. And so you see they're getting mixed up here. We've got them in a straight line stacked up. Drive that one right down the pipe. And then here's another look at it here. Now we're going chest action, Iverson into stack. Boom, throw it back. And now we're getting that same high-low look from 4 to 5 right there. So, Coach, that's a lot of the stuff that. Go ahead. Any more questions before we I get rid of the video there?
5 minutes, and then we'll go take questions. Some questions.
Say that one more time.
For the video, if you have 1 more minute on the video, so let's finish the video and then we go to question and answers.
Okay. So that's actually that's the end of the video right there.
All right.
Ready to go on a loop. So
yeah, I think most of the questions you were able to answer with the presentation. I think Teddy's got a question for you.
Coach, hi. Thanks for sharing your presentation with us. My question is, with your experience on different roles in Kentucky, your time in the Dominican Republic, and of course with Morehead, could you give us 5 qualities that a coach should possess in order to be successful? Thank you.
You know, I think the number one thing when you become a head coach is you've really got to be comfortable with who you are. I was very fortunate to get started in working for Coach Cal. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's been to tons of Final Fours, won a national championship, and produced a lot of pros. But there's only one John Calipari, and so although there are a lot of qualities and things that I can take away from Coach during my time working for him, at the end of the day, I think it's very important to understand who you are. And you can't try to emulate who you worked for or who you learned from to a T. You can certainly take things from them, but at the end of the day, you've got to be very true to yourself. I'm really big on honesty with our players. We talk about the 5 pillars of our program. We have a culture wall. We have it written everywhere within our program: locker room, film room, offices, practice plans, everything. It's trust, commitment, accountability, discipline, and respect. And so all those things to me are just very important. And I try to make sure that I incorporate one of those terms every day before we begin practice or at the end of practice. And so, trust is very important. I just think that a culture of trust within a program is built on a foundation of truth. And I'm very honest and I'm very truthful with our players. And I just think if they understand that you care about them and that you care about them as people before you care about them as players, then they'll allow you to trust them and be truthful with them. And ultimately, they're going to respect that more. And so commitment is something that's really important to me. It's important that it's demonstrated by me and my staff that we are committed to our team. We're committed to our guys, whether they're playing well or not. And we're going to be committed to our values. My faith is very important to me and how I run my program. And so it's important that I'm consistent and I'm committed to being consistent with how I approach my guys each and every day. And so that'd be the second thing that we really talk about for us in our program. Accountability. I know a lot of teams have that, and it's very important. But I think it's a buzzword that is not understood by young people, at least in our culture right now with young players. They have to learn what accountability is, and so you have to demonstrate that as a coach, as a staff, and then you have to show them examples of what accountability looks like. And when you see progress in those areas, you have to really praise it. And so making sure that we've got great accountability off the court, whether it comes to academically being on time, doing our work, and then those things are going to carry over to being accountable on the court as well. And then the fourth one is discipline. I think it's really, really important that you have great discipline. I tell our team all the time, how you do anything is how you'll do everything. And I don't believe that you can have an undisciplined personal life and then have great discipline once you step on the court. I think those things go hand in hand with one another. And so we want to make sure that we're practicing great discipline in everything that we do. And I think that's so important in this day and age with what the world is going through right now with this coronavirus pandemic. Is you've got to have great self-discipline right now. For me, Coach, I haven't seen my players in 45 days. I don't know when I'll get to see them again face to face. And so we're constantly preaching to them and trying to motivate them that they have to have great self-discipline, because they don't have to get up at a certain time every day and go to class or be at practice, or they don't have that routine and schedule right now. So they have to have great self-discipline to maintain and create those things for themselves, because those things are just as important on an individual basis while they're at home as they are in a team setting once we get back together. And so that discipline piece is very important, but it's important that those guys see that coming down from the top as well. And I make sure that we demonstrate that from a staff. And I'm just really big on respect. I tell all of our guys and their parents in recruiting, and I make sure that I follow through that, I'm going to be very demanding as a coach, but I'm not going to be demeaning. For us, we refer to our players, obviously, compared to you being a pro coach, that, we talk about their kids. But at the end of the day, I tell them, this is men's basketball. It's called men's basketball. All of you are young adults, 18 to 22 years old. And so we're going to treat you like men. We're going to communicate to you like men. We're going to talk to you like men, and we're going to make sure that we respect each other like men. And so for me, those are the five, to answer your question, Teddy, those are the five pillars of our program. But for me, those are five qualities of a coach as well that I've picked up from Coach Cal, that I've really tried to carry out throughout our program here as well.
Thank you so much, Coach, for that. And, as a wrap up, I think learned a lot from you, Coach, and thank you very much for spending your time. I think some of the questions you were able to ask on your presentation on the switches and on counters on if they go under, and also you've given your share on how you connect to players in this time of pandemic. Thank you for answering that too. And some parting words, Teddy? Teddy's not here. Coach, again, we thank you. Some parting words from you, and I hope to see you again. Probably watch your game live. I hope everything will be over soon.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you having me on here. This was a great honor for me, and anytime that we get to share the game, I know that the game that we all love, whether you're in the Philippines or you're in the United States, it doesn't matter. We're all chasing the same thing. We all have a real passion for this game. And that's what's wonderful about the game of basketball, is it can bring all cultures together. We're all trying to accomplish the same things during this pandemic as coaches. We're all just trying to get better. And what a better way to do it than sharing the game and sharing ideas and answering questions and making connections like we're able to do right now. And so I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And Coach, if you don't mind, you have my email address. If you don't mind sharing that with with anyone who was on the clinic here today.
Yes.
I'd love to answer any questions or
Yes,
receive
and
any ideas from anybody, and just continue to grow relationships and share the game as much as we can. I think that's a great opportunity that this crisis and this pandemic is affording all of us right now, as an opportunity to grow those relationships. And I'd like to be a resource for anybody that I can to do that.
thank you so much, Coach. We really appreciate that. And they're asking for your presentation, if they can have a copy of the
Yeah,
presentation. Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
Once we get off here, I can maybe email that to you, and
Okay.
then you can disperse it from there. Or if you'd like to share my email, and
Yes,
they
I'll
can
share your
get that,
email also.
that'd be great. Yeah, I've no problem. No secrets here from us. I'd like to share anything that I've got.
Thank you so much. And stay tuned again, coaches. We got another session just in 5 minutes time. I know we went a bit over time. Coach Hernando is ready. He's a Filipino American, so he's going to be talking about the mental game. So he's ready also to share with you. He's Filipino American, so we can all relate to him and his journey in his coaching career. Again, thank you so much, Preston and Teddy. And I would like to see you again, attendees, as we move to that other session. Make sure to refresh your screen and go ahead and attend on the other screen. Thank you so much, Coach Preston.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Teddy.
Bye, Coach. Thanks.